Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back. This is Monica, Wellbeing Mastery. And we have a very special occasion today to celebrate. Two special occasions. We have Allana Pratt with us on the show. And this is actually the first day Wellbeing Mastery is actually going live. So we just started. But you can still sign up. I'm putting the links in the comments and in the Facebook here. We have amazing 27 guests, all speaking to that super important subject of how do we create true health and radiant, abundant energy in our body. And who doesn't want that? I do. That's why I have this show here. That's why I'm talking with my people here. So beautiful. So please, it's completely free. You have nothing to lose, and you are definitely welcome. And because we're streaming this live to celebrate the occasion with our amazing guest today, you can ask questions and put comments in the box here. So we're going to read that. So beautiful. Let me introduce you to Allana Pratt. Allana is an intimacy expert, relationship coach, author of 6 books, the host of the edgy podcast Intimate Conversations, and the creator of the newly launched intimacy training and partnering app, Heartmates. She has been chosen as an icon on influence as she's a columnist on the Good Men Project and has been featured on Huffington Post, People's Magazine, Forbes, CBS, ABC, and Fox, and many more. And now on Wellbeing Mastery. Welcome, Allana. How are you doing? Such an honor to have you.
Oh, you're so kind, Monica. Thank you for having me. And I just have to ask before we begin, your accent is so sexy. Where are you from?
Oh, thank you. That's such a nice compliment. I was born in Poland. I'm currently living actually in Tucson, Arizona, so it's far away.
Yes. Oh, well, it's wonderful. You have a radiant energy, and I love what you're doing here. And thank you for having me.
Well, Allana, so because you are a beautiful example of that true health to me, and it's not just the physical health, being able to do push-ups, whatever. It's actually an inner health, an inner connection. So, and I know your story is just very beautiful and very windy, but I would love for us to just hear a little bit about it. How did you get to empower so many people to actually create that intimacy with themselves and others?
Thank you. I sometimes I make a joke. I'm like, yeah, I'm 73. No, I'm not. 52. But I do feel quite vibrantly alive. And I feel one of the reasons is that I've developed not just an intimate relationship with myself. Like, yes, I'm cum laude graduate, Ivy League school, like lots of credibility. But I've also created an intimate relationship with the parts that we could call wobbly, the parts where I lost myself, the parts where I hated my body, the parts where I was so insecure, looking for approval. Instead of trying to fix and change and be good enough, I took a different point of view, and I decided that what if I could love them, these parts of myself, as they are, even if they never changed, which the old me was like, oh, I'm insecure, need to be confident. Oh, I'm overweight, need to lose weight. Like there was always an agenda. There was always a strategy. But when I really went into the dark corners of my heart and I said, hey, based on how you were raised, based on your culture, based on what happened to you, you have every right to feel insecure. You have every right to feel humiliated. You have every right to doubt if you're good enough. And I stopped trying to change that part of me. And I call that intimacy. Into me I see, and be vulnerable and be transparent and be kind and be compassionate. And when I was like this with this part of me, even if we never meet the one, even if we never have a bestseller, even if we're never on Oprah, even if we die alone, I love you. I love you. And I'm not going to change you. Something inside of me shifted. And it came home. It was outside being judged or avoided, and it came inside and home into my heart. And it's like these little Allanas, needed to know that they were loved unconditionally, without condition, even if they never changed. And then when they came home, they're like, let's eat better. Let's have healthier boundaries. This part wanted to grow, but first it wanted to be seen and loved and not judged. And the same is true with my body. When I looked at my body, oh, there's wrinkles here, or there's, flat fat here, or this. When I looked at my body with judgment, my body was like, screw you. I'm not going to lose the extra 5 or 10 pounds. I'm not going to feel vibrant and alive because you don't think I'm good enough. So I was at war with my actual body. And so the very same dynamic of loving my body as it is. Okay, I'm in my 50s. Some things have a little extra wobble. There's strange hairs growing out of strange parts of my body. I'm just like I'm friends. I'm friends with my body. I'm friends with my orgasm. I'm friends with my sacred sexuality. As soon as I've become friends and not at war, I don't really work at losing weight. I just ask my body, what do you want to eat? And let's move our body today. What exercise should we do? I just find that I'm able to have this inner energy and vitality and confidence by loving myself as I am, not waiting to love myself.
Not waiting to love myself. Beautiful. Yes, because we can wait until we are perfect. It never happens. And
Right.
in the meantime, I mean, every moment of life is precious, and I think like you're an example of that. Like sometimes we forget because we're trying to get to that goal, behind the rainbow, and it's not coming because we are not here now, embracing those little ones inside of us. And so, I mean, there's so much that I want to unpack from what you just said. Honestly, it's a tons. And first thing, because I wanted to really have you on the show. It was so important to me because health. You say intimacy is a inside job.
Yeah.
And we can say health is an inside job too, like you were talking about it. And but creating that health and vitality is not just about some sort of, like you were just saying, it's not about some sort of prescriptions, things that we do or take or employ. It is really about connecting deeply into our body. So I want to unpack it a little bit, because you talk about how you embrace those little Allanas that were maybe struggling and gave them space to be. Tell us more, if somebody is right now in that place where they are struggling and they are trying to figure it all out, and they maybe haven't really learned that much about how to turn inside and start there. What would you advise them? What's the first step?
Yeah. When I didn't even know I had an inside. Like I didn't know I had a heart or a soul or a consciousness. I was just spinning so fast, 1,000,000 miles an hour, just trying to look good, be safe, right? Get approval, anything. And I was willing to disown or not listen to those nudges and just say, oh, no. We need to go. We need to get. We need to take, right? To be safe. So I'd say one of the first steps is to sort of lift yourself up and start to observe yourself, why you're doing things. That could be meditation. That could be journaling. That could be going for a walk in nature, some environment that allows you to slow down and begin to listen to how you feel, not what you think, but how you feel. As you first start to slow down and feel those truths, it's not going to feel fun. There's going to be some things that you've been pushing down and having another glass of wine or getting on Facebook or doing whatever to avoid. So the very first time we slow down, don't worry if it's not fun. You're not doing it wrong. There's probably a scared you, a mad you, an ashamed you, a sad you. All these feelings are going to be there. And we often think when we start to go from the outside in to the inside out, oh my God, I'm just going to be a hot mess forever. No, it's hardest in the beginning. It's sort of like a big dam that lets loose, and then it becomes a trickling stream after. So be prepared and have a coach like myself or Monica, someone there to hold space for you as you begin to go in, go under the hood and feel. Because it's really, it can be challenging. I'll be honest with you. This is not for the faint of heart. This is for the brave. This is for the brave goddesses or gods that are willing to be embodied, willing to be in their bodies, willing to be in their truth, in their power, and in their light. It's not for the faint of heart, but the tough stuff doesn't last forever. A practice is just take it in 10-second intervals. Like, okay, I'm feeling a feeling come up. Maybe you're in the bathtub. Maybe you're going for a walk. Just let it be there for 10 seconds, but really feel it for 10 seconds. Don't half-ass it. Feel the anger. 10 seconds. Really, really feel it. And then stop. And then notice how you feel. Some of it will have integrated. You won't be as angry as before. If you don't do this, the slightest things that people do piss you off and you become a bitch. Or the slightest way somebody looks at you, you take it personally and feel insecure. But if we go in and we feel these feelings for just 10 seconds at a time, fully, over time, we begin to integrate, process these parts. And then over time, you start to go, oh, that's my intuition talking. Those are my instincts talking. That's my truth talking. That's my heart talking. As you get in there and you begin, and here's the main thing, you begin to trust yourself. Trust is not up here. That's strategy. Oh, what do I need to do to be safe? Oh, look, that's like the last one. And it pushes away connection. True trust comes in our gut, deep inside our body, when we start to know, It's a deeper intuition, but it requires an open heart. A closed heart, you're just going to go into your spinning mind and you can't hear your intuition. And it's very scary to live that way. I lived that way for a very long time.
Yeah.
But when I do the work, i.e. feel the feelings, love little you, no matter how she feels or he feels, the heart begins to open, and science calls it coherence. So even if you can't love that you're feeling mad, you can have compassion that you're feeling mad. You can have empathy that you have every right to feel sad. And that empathy or compassion also opens the heart, drops you into your gut so that you know what you know and you feel safe. All this time we've been looking to be safe on the outside, but all of a sudden you start to feel safe on the inside. And you start to know what you know. And then from that place, open heart, intuition, the best of your brain turns on, where you can think creatively and abstractly, and you can make better choices about your health, your well-being, your relationships, your environment, what to eat, what to wear that makes you feel beautiful. Who do you hang out with that gives you life? Who drains it, right? Who has your back and sees you? Who is just using you, right? All of this awareness will start to arise from deep within your knowing when you begin to feel your feelings.
Beautiful. And I love what you say. It doesn't have to be, it can be 10 seconds.
Yeah.
At the very moment when I feel pissed off at somebody who, I don't know, crossed my path and
go to the bathroom.
Feel your whatever. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, it's 10 seconds. It's not an hour. And it doesn't have to be a perfect, like you don't have to feel all of it at once and feel like you accomplished, or conquering that feeling. No, it's actually just allowing little by little, right? Step by step. I think that makes it so much more doable. And I love when you mentioned the open heart part of it. It's very feminine to me, very embracive, like the motherly feeling towards ourselves.
Yes.
But you're talking about intuition. I would love to talk more about intuition because it's such a big subject. And I think that we get confused about what intuition is.
Yeah.
And do only women have intuition? I mean, do men have intuition? Tell us more about that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I wanted to say a couple of things. One, the open heart can allow for a very divine mother energy to come through with ourselves, but simultaneously to open one's heart, that's brave. That's hard. So that's like fierce love of like, no, I'm going to open my heart to myself. It takes bravery. So, but once you're open, then the more nurturing appreciation and compassion can come through, but you're going to take some strength to really open. So back to intuition. There was this experience I had once where I was on a stage with my eyes closed with a bunch of other women, and the men were asked to choose who they wanted to sleep with and who they really thought would fuel their purpose on the planet. These two different questions.
Uh-huh.
And all the other women in the audience were asked to close their eyes as well. And there was a vote. And the vote for the sexy one, I won. There was two women, but I was old and she was young, hot, the typical sexy. And I thought, why on earth did they choose me? And the men said, and this is when I learned men have just as strong of intuitions as women do. They said, I don't know what it is about her, me, but she's not using her sexuality as a commodity to manipulate me. She's not using her sexuality in competition with the woman beside her. She's just having pleasure in her body just because she's alive. And I thought, they're picking up on what we were talking about before, how I made friends with my body.
Mm-hmm.
I made friends with my pleasure. I made friends with my sexuality. And I was having pleasure just being me. And they sensed it. I didn't say a word. And I wasn't dressed with the big boobs and short skirt. I was just dressed normal. So I'm like, they're sensing something. And then the second question about would the woman fuel your purpose? I won in that category too. And I'm like, I don't understand why. And the gentleman in the audience said, I don't know what it is about her, but I can sense that if I lost my job, she wouldn't cut my balls off. I thought, how do you know that? And just like I used to judge myself, criticize myself, and I'm not perfect, let me tell you, I'm not perfect. But in general, I've come a long way from hating myself, judging myself, to saying, oh, little Allana, you did your best. You have every right to feel this way. Like I'm learning self-compassion. And so I don't judge myself. So my insides aren't judgmental, and they can sense the same would happen if they came home and lost their job. I wouldn't say, you're a loser, go out there and get another job. I might be human and I might be scared. And I might say, okay, I don't know how we're going to make it. I'm a little scared, but I believe in you. And if that boss doesn't believe in you, go find another one that will, because I love you. And I might be fierce, but fierce love, not anger. Why? Because I've learned to keep my heart open to myself and my heart open to another. And men sensed this. So the capacity for a man or a woman to have intuition, to sense a safe, aligned job, a safe, aligned person, a safe, aligned food, like anything that's going to be aligned with us, isn't just our cognitive analysis of a person or a situation. It's a sense. And when we can keep our heart open, which is brave, which means we have to be present, which means we're not in control, which means it's going to be brave. Like, think about it. If you're truly present, you're at choice. You can respond. You can use the best of your brain, but you can't control the outcome. You can't control the other person. You have to let go of attachment. That's brave. That's presence. And that's open-heartedness. And if we can do this and practice this, we can turn on our intuition and find that safety from within to make choices that honor us. And yeah, our instincts come alive.
Beautiful. And that practice of open heart, you know, it's not something that we just gain one day and then just live like that and walk around like my heart's open, nothing shakes me. Maybe there are some people like that, but I imagine not me. I imagine that you know, it takes daily practice. It takes a daily attentiveness to that. Tell us more about how do you work with that?
Yeah. Well, you're right. I don't think we ever get there. It's a daily practice for me. It's a moment-to-moment practice, because as soon as someone disagrees with me, rejects me, judges me, criticizes me, as soon as I look in the bank account and it's less than I thought it was going to be, as soon as I get cut off in traffic, I mean, all day long, we have opportunities to close or open, take it personally, or to lean in, sit in the fire, stay open and choose, right? It's a practice. So just a very simple practice that was taught to me. I mean, I've been a teacher for 20 years, but I've been a student. Well, I'll always be a student. So I'm always, I have coaches, even though I coach other people. I'm always going to new workshops. I'm always getting new certifications because I'm always curious. And the more I know, the more I discover I don't know. It's not the opposite. But one of the practices I learned a long time ago was, then we can all do it together.
All right.
So
Let's do that.
the instruction is very simple, but it's kind of, so right now the instruction is, Monica, open your heart to me and I'll open my heart to you. So we're just going to open our heart to each other. Okay. And we just notice what we notice. We notice if there's any thoughts, any body sensations, any emotions, anything, right? And then we take a breath. And the next one is, Monica, close your heart to me. Choose to close your heart to me, and I'll close my heart to you as well. And then we notice what we notice. Different thoughts, different body sensations, different emotions. And then again, we take a breath. And Monica, open your heart to me. And notice what you notice. And then I would say, tell me something about that. And what did you?
I feel like a quivering in my heart. And I feel like I see your face. When I close my heart, I just even wasn't seeing you. But now I feel like I see you. I see your eyes. I see your face. I see your energy. And it just feels like, it feels more effortless, actually.
Thank you. So isn't it wild? So my experience of you was you were radiant and beautiful, and then you were like a shell, like a mannequin, like a beautiful doll, but I couldn't feel into you. And then when you opened, I could feel into you. It was like the energy was like this figure 8 that we could like dance together. But when your heart was closed and my heart was closed, it was just like two sticks like this. And so what that shows us is that we are in charge of our reality. Reality literally changes when nobody made you, like I asked you, but you could have chosen not to open your heart at all. Like you're in charge, but we're in charge of our reality. And when our heart is open or our heart is closed, it's a different reality. It's a different experience of life. So you can practice this with yourself in the mirror.
Yes.
Right? You're like open to yourself, which is easy to do on a good day.
Right?
Yourself when you are told they want a divorce, when you're told you have a sickness, as a cancer, told when the money isn't there and you're bankrupt or whatever, told the bad news. If we close to ourselves, we make the bad news even worse because we disconnect from ourselves. This is the time to practice more than ever to keep your heart open to yourself. When little you inside needs a hug, needs compassion, needs empathy, just needs you to sit there in the dark and say, even though on the outside it's not looking so good, I will never leave your side. I will never forsake you. I've got your back and we're in this together. That's when it's challenging. Practice looking in the mirror and keep your eyes open to yourself. I'll tell you a little story about that in a minute. But before I forget, sometimes we have trouble opening our heart to our beauty, to our power, to our success, to our glory, to our limitless nature, to our dreams. Sometimes that's the harder one. Sometimes we're quite used to being victims. And we're like, yeah, I know that one well. We could just stay in victim. But when we really want to step into our dreams, into our glory, that's sometimes harder to open to. So to open to the wobbly one, the insecure one, do I deserve it? Am I worthy? Can I be in my power and let go of the results and just give for the sake of, this is my genius. I don't want my song to die inside. Sometimes that's the harder part. So having a very simple but daily practice of opening, closing, and opening. So it's a muscle. We're practicing opening in the face of anything to ourselves and then to the world. I'll tell 2 little quick stories. One, I don't do as much speaking these days with the pandemic, right? But it's starting again. But I used to do a lot of speaking, and I would arrive and I would do this exercise and I would say, okay, open to me and what I have to say. And now close to me and what I have to say. And then I would make little jokes. I'm like, because when you close, you're like, stupid lady, she's wearing glitter. I don't like her. Be their head. Like I would even think I could hear their thoughts, and I would just say these things. You can see the giggles, and I go, "It's okay, it's okay." And then I say, "Open your heart to me." And then I go, "What's different?" And I would ask them, and they're like, "Oh, you're nice. I didn't think you were nice when your heart was closed." And then I said, "Do that to your husband or wife tonight."
Yes.
Your children. And when I lead couples workshops, that's what I would do with them. That's such a simple exercise, but within 5 minutes, the room's in tears because they realize, oh my God, I'm in charge of how I see my partner. I've been blaming them this whole time, but what if I'm responsible for how I see them? And you know what it's like to be seen by somebody that's, doesn't believe in you. Who wants to show up, right? Why even try? But when you're seen by someone who does know your soul, you want to be brave. You want to do the right thing when no one's looking. You want to risk for love, right? Mm-hmm. So that's an exercise I encourage you to do with yourself and with your kids and with your beloved, with everybody. And the other thing is just a few weeks ago was Mother's Day. We're at the end of May at the recording of this interview. And my son has decided to live with his dad for the last couple of years. We went through a very long custody battle, and I haven't spoken to him for two years. And on Mother's Day morning, not that I did the right thing, but I gathered up the bravery to wish all the moms I knew happy Mother's Day. And then normally I process my feelings. I have a good attitude. I go for a walk. I do all this. But I had been operating, Monica, on top of 2 years of sadness that I just keep it together. Just keep it together. Just do a good job. Just make a difference. Just contribute to the world. And I hadn't just let myself lose it. I thought, you've got to be more evolved than that. But what I did is I took a bottle of Prosecco and I went into my closet where there's a mirror, and I took a candle and I propped it up against the suitcase, and I brought a chair and I just looked into my eyes, and I chose to stay open to myself, and I cried and drank that bottle of Prosecco probably for 4 or 5 hours, Monica. And I just felt my feelings. I felt years of feelings with no outcome in mind, just to honor what was true. And I sobbed and I looked in my eyes and I said, "You're so brave to keep going. You're so brave to not judge him. You're so brave not to get bitter. You're so brave not to blame yourself. Hang in there. I got you and I love you." And so this exercise of keeping your heart open, even though I talk about 10 seconds and I talk about these open, close, open, sometimes there's a day that might arise when you need to take a little bit longer for yourself and really honor just being human. Yeah. So give yourself that gift if you need it.
Yes, and honoring that, we have the right to be that full human being. And there is, time is, we become slaves of time, I'm afraid, in this society too often. And it's okay to take 5 hours, 10 hours to actually sit with yourself and look in the mirror.
Take the weekend. Be a hot mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Because it will pay off. And so you started talking a bit about relationships with others. And I think that's such a crucial part of being healthy.
Yes.
We don't live alone. Of course, we start with ourselves. We look into our own eyes and embrace our own little ones inside. But then there's a world out there and there's other people.
Yes.
So how does that all come together?
Yeah, this is why I love intimacy. This is why I started that partnering app, Heartmates. Yeah. It's really, this is our slogan with Heartmates. We're not calling it a dating app. We're calling it a partnering app, because the business structure of a dating app, they make money when you fail at love. Mm-hmm. I choose for people to win at love and to succeed and to thrive and to grow. We call it become the one, to find the one, to keep the one. That really do this inner work, you attract your like vibration in terms of your romantic relationships, your clients, your friends, etc. You find your people. And it's that inner relationship of allowance, curiosity, compassion, unapologetic expression, willingness to be you, unattached from the results, all the things we've been talking about today. When you be that way, you repel those that aren't your match. And you vibrationally attract those that are. And so in our partnering app, we start with friendship, allies, learning and growing together. And then we have dating be second, not first. We don't want to start from empty, heart closed.
Right.
I need you to complete me, because that's one low vibration attracting another low vibration, and it's not going to go very far, very fast, for very long. And so we start with all this heart opening intimacy with self and friendship and practice. We have they're called conscious connection calls, and they're once a week, and we have these deep, meaningful shares. We break people into partnerships, and you start off with someone you've never met before, or you can come in as a couple and take your relationship to the next level too. Heartmates for singles, heartmates for couples. But if you're single, you come in and you practice, not like, oh my God, is this a date? But this is a sacred connection of consciousness and allowance. And we ask very profound questions like, tell me, you can even say, tell me something you're afraid to tell me about the truth of who you are, right? And you get heard. And what's cool about these conversations is the other person only says, thank you. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're received, you're heard, no judgment, no interrupting, no, oh yeah, well, none of it. You're just, oh my God, understood at the core. It's so beautiful, so healing. And then we teach communication skills to have these kind of conversations on a regular basis, around sexuality, around money, around our values, around how we choose to live with our bodies and health, etc. And you find in these conversations, you'll find your like-hearted, like-minded friends and allies by simply showing up as you, speaking up. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So this is really a reverse. Yes, mechanics. Like you actually start with connecting with yourself, knowing who you are. Because I think we don't know who we are. We don't know our values. We never ask those questions.
Yeah.
How are we gonna connect with others who have the same values if we don't know who we are, right?
Totally. Every so often I go on the conscious connection calls, I have facilitators that lead them, but I went on actually last week, and I was saying, so, what works and what could I do better with Heartmates? And they love the curriculum. We have an online curriculum, an intimacy curriculum to heal your heart, process anger, show up unapologetically, love your body, express your sexuality, all that kind of stuff. But I said, what is it about the conscious connection calls that you love? And I thought they would say, it just feels so good to be heard and not interrupted. But that's not what they said. They said, I've discovered more about me when another actually listens. And I'm like, oh. She said the quality of questions are profound. I don't normally have these quality of conversations with regular people on dates, or my friends or my family, that the quality of questions are amazing. That's one part of it. The other part of it is we don't really have the chance to go in and listen for truth to arise when the other person isn't really listening. They're not present, and they are trying to fix or change you, or they're 3 steps ahead of what they should say so that they look good, or they win, or they stay in control. We're not even listening. And when we're with another who's not listening, we're not safe to really feel and discover who we are. So the whole dynamic of these questions are allowing people to become more of who they are, so they can express who they are, so they can find a match with who they truly are around what brings them joy, how they like to be loved, how they like to be touched, what they like to do in their free time, what really matters at the end of the day. What are their non-negotiables? What is a preference but really doesn't matter? What are they afraid of? All these questions, you get to discover who you are. And some people had come in maybe about a year before into the program, and I hadn't seen them for about a year, and they were sharing. I'm like, you are so confident. You are so gorgeous. You are so unapologetic. I'm like, the work works. It was so rewarding for me, because when you start something, you do your best, but it's good to have some results and some feedback so you're going in the right direction. Oh, it was so good, Monica. So, heartmates.app. That is this beautiful community. Yeah.
You make me want to get to this. I mean, you make me want to get the app because it sounds amazing. And whether you're looking for somebody or not looking for we always need to look for ourselves and find. This is the basic of. This is the very basis of how to live healthy. on all the levels. And you just explained it so beautifully. I really want to appreciate that. So tell us more about blind spots, because I know you have another offering for us, and you are talking about intimacy blind spots, and that really got my interest, because it's another way, right? We're discovering who we are. Tell us more about what that is, and
Thank you. Yes. So basically, when we are looking for love, if our brain was in charge and we knew what we were doing, we'd all be successful. It'd be fine. But whenever we have issues and sabotaging patterns, or we keep attracting someone that's not emotionally unavailable, and we try to figure it out ourselves and we don't, it's because it's a blind spot. It's because it's an unhealed wound. It's because it's a closed heart. Closed hearts are programmed to repel love. These unhealed wounds are literally wiring us to go, yeah, I want love. No, don't hurt me again, right? Like that's what's going on under, like, subconsciously. So we call this a blind spot, and we can't see them. That's why they're called blind spots. I can't see mine. You can't see yours, right? They're designed to keep us safe, but to guarantee that we die alone. That's they never want us to get hurt again, never risk again, never show up again, never open again. So we don't get hurt. But as a result of that, we will never have the intimacy we know is possible. And we might die alone, or we might die beside somebody who never saw us because we never showed up to be seen, right? So blind spots are very, very important to have revealed and to heal, so that we can realize in life, and this is like maybe not good news for some people, but you're going to get hurt. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're going to pay taxes. You're going to die. You're going to get hurt. Like, these are part of life. Yeah. And in our fantasy, we're like, no, I want to find the person that will never hurt me. And the perfect person, and I'll be the person. Like, no, people, that's not reality. Mm-hmm. But what we can do when we find our blind spot is heal that into confidence, into resilience, into fortitude, into strength, into bravery, into courage, into that capacity to do what we just did, that baby exercise, feel your feelings and open your heart. If you can do that, you will succeed in intimate relationships. But if you don't learn how to integrate those unhealed wounds, if you don't find your blind spot and integrate the unhealed wounds, your heart will stay closed. You won't know what you know. You'll make stupid mistakes, not because you're stupid, but because you're not using the best of your brain. You're in fight or flight or freeze, or you just talk yourself into something or talk yourself out of something because you can't hear your intuition, and then you judge yourself, which closes your heart even more, and now you're a real hot mess, right? And so these blind spots are the portal to go, oh, that's the wound I need to heal from pain or shame or fear or sadness, into power, peace, confidence, bravery, surrender. I've got my own back. So this integration is what we teach. And the very first step is to figure out your blind spot. Just knowing your blind spot, no offense, but it doesn't do shit, because now you just have a greater understanding of why things aren't working, but the things still aren't working. But at least you know the direction to go. This is the direction to go. And then from there, take a path to heal that, so that, again, become the one to find the one to keep the one. You enjoy the process. You enjoy being you, and you attract your ideal match while having fun along the way and learning the skills to keep the one and grow deeper over time with your ideal partner. Whether that ideal partner is meant to last a year, 10 years, or a lifetime, they're not better or worse. That's something else I want to be sure people know. Some souls are designed to have all these lessons with one human, another human. Some souls are designed to have, this person is this lesson, another person is this lesson. Nobody's better and nobody's worse. So please, if you have judgment that you're divorced twice, 3 times, whatever, no need to judge yourself. You keep learning, keep growing, keep doing the work, and enjoy being you.
Beautiful. I just absolutely love it. And what I'm learning from you right now is that, the whole process of uncovering ourselves from the inside, the whole process of looking into our own soul, looking in the mirror, That is the process when we practice for relationships. So it's not about, just getting it fixed, not about just getting there. It's actually that whole process that gets us deeper and deeper into who we are as humans and who we are as humans in relationship.
Yes.
So that's a beautiful thing to think about it that way. And it goes for relationships, it goes for health, it goes for everything in our life that we want to have, I feel. Right? The whole process of practice, of getting there, right?
Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful.
If we can sit with our own discomfort and our own ecstasy, if we can be with ourselves, we can be with our partner's discomfort, our partner's ecstasy. We can be present, heart open with one another. And to me, I believe at the core, I guess our ego maybe wants to look good, do it right. Yeah. But I think our soul just wants to be seen and understood, right? It's the biggest gift you can give to another. And it makes you not that you need to be better than the rest, but it makes you unique and stand out if you are looking to find a new relationship. Not everybody has the ability to sit with another, not judge, not hide, not, oh, don't feel that way, but just go, wow, tell me more. I'm right here. And it's beautiful. So cultivating that will allow you to attract someone who can also be like that for you.
Wow. So I know you're offering our viewers a quiz.
Yeah, that's the intimacy blind spot quiz. So yes, please. And I'm sure Monica will give you the link. But go to the quiz. And there's a lot of information about what that means and how you can improve based on what you discover. And so that you can deepen your intimate relationships all over your life, with your body, with your soul, with your beloved, with your kids, even intimacy with money, right? Some people would like more money, but they don't have an intimate relationship with money. I'm like, well, why don't you start there? Yeah.
Beautiful. So, Allana, is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you really wanted to share with our audience that feels right now very important?
Oh, Monica, we could open a bottle of wine and talk for hours.
Yeah, I know, talk for hours. Leave us with something to take away, like really a golden thought or something that you want to.
Thank you. Yeah. I think the practice that is simple, another simple practice, is in every morning and every night, if you could just put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly or a hand on your yoni, and just check in with your body, take a few breaths and just say, hi, sweet one. And it could be your body or it could be your soul. Tell me what I haven't slowed down enough to hear, and begin listening. And if you do that on a regular basis, just morning and night, just 1 minute, the part of you inside that you might have been ignoring, or your body, will say, really? You care? I matter? Well, here's what I want to let you know. And you'll have a deeper, intimate relationship with yourself. And it doesn't really need to be any harder than that, but just your intention to really listen. And then when the truth comes up, don't fix, don't change, don't argue, just go, thank you. And just be with yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. Well, thank you. And it was such a juicy conversation. I've learned so much, and I know that our viewers are learning so much. And it's it is very transformative. And it's not complicated. It's simple, but I feel like it requires a deep commitment. And I so appreciate you bringing that up. We connect to our deepest heart and what we truly desire, that is fuel for those practices. So it inspired me to think about it that way right now. And so I want to honor you, Allana, for being here. Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to have you. And thank you, everybody, for coming on the show. And you're going to receive this recording if you haven't seen it live. You're going to receive Allana's gift to start going deeper into connection with yourself and uncover your blind spots. So thank you, everybody. I encourage you to connect with us, ask questions, tell us what you thought and what your reflections were. So I cannot wait to hear from everybody. So Allana, thank you again so much. I have a beautiful day, and everybody have a beautiful day. It was a pleasure connecting with you today.